What if the South Vietnam defeated North Vietnam in 1975? The year is 1975. The place, Vietnam. The South Vietnamese army is on the cusp of victory against the North Vietnamese. With American support, they've pushed the communist forces all the way back to Hanoi, and with their backs against the wall, the North Vietnamese are making their final stand. It's now or never for the South Vietnamese. If they can just hold out a little longer, the North Vietnamese will collapse. But then, out of nowhere, a massive relief column appears, consisting of thousands of Chinese and Soviet troops who were secretly stockpiling weapons and supplies in the north, just waiting for this moment. The South Vietnamese immediately regret their decision to attack. They're now facing an entire new army that seems to have come out of nowhere. Meanwhile, in Washington, President Ford is making his famous pardon speech. He shocks the nation by announcing that he is granting a pardon to all Americans who have deserted or refused to fight in Vietnam. In the aftermath, Vietnam is a communist country, ruled by a coalition government formed by the two Vietnams. The U.S. is in turmoil. People need to carry around wheelbarrows of cash for basic goods and services. There are massive shortages of food and other basic goods. People line up at the grocery store for days just to get in. It's the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. The U.S. never recovers its global position. Without the Vietnam victory, it becomes a second-rate power at best. China and the Soviet Union become the dominant world powers. They form a close alliance and begin a massive military buildup. Soon, the Soviets have deployed thousands of nuclear missiles on European soil aimed directly at the U.S. The threat of nuclear war becomes very real. The U.S. and its allies desperately try to develop new weapons to counter the Soviets, including low-yield nuclear weapons that could theoretically be used in Europe. Détente ends and the Cold War heats up. So what have we learned? Even if the U.S. had won the Vietnam War, the communist threat would still remain. The Soviet Union would likely still have invaded Afghanistan and installed a puppet government there. And without the Vietnam bogeyman, the U.S. would have been less likely to intervene in places like Nicaragua and Grenada. So perhaps the Vietnam bogeyman was just that, a bogeyman. But without that bogeyman, what would have taken its place? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Thank you for watching.